In a previous life, as the real daughter, but as adopted daughter was taken home, I was finally insulted to death, and then opened my eyes. Back to my mother took me home the first day. Shuyao, this is your new home. Look at the room your mother has prepared for you. Do you like it? Mother Ju Sui opened the door with a smile. The room, which could be decorated as a pink princess's room, was now in tatters. The walls were splashed with red paint. It looked like blood. This. Mother Liu. What's going on? My mother was obviously scared. Livid called home nanny. Although already 18 years old, I also pretended to be scared. Madam, just now Big Miss went in, said she wanted to visit. I didn't know it would be like this. Liu Mar said carefully, and gave me a resentful look, as if blaming me for scolding her. But I didn't do anything, didn't say a word, inexplicably begrudged. But I know, in fact, that my sister said a lot of bad things about me. Let the nanny at home, housekeeper on my impression is very bad, all think I am a bad-tempered, domineering person. In previous lives, I was taken home to help Liu Mar get rid of domestic violence after her husband, but she said I meddle. I used the pocket money I saved to help the housekeeper pay off his daughter's gambling debts, but it was seen as charity. Instead, he insulted me with words, and even deliberately made pornographic rumors about me at school. This life, I respect their fate. Let them taste no one meddling, no one to give the fate of what would be. False daughter Jiang Jiarzhen heard the voice from the next room came out, eyes full of resentment of the dead staring at me. Jiarzhen, is this what you do? Ju Sui looked at her daughter's eyes full of anger. I did it, Mom. Why you being so nice to an adopted daughter when I'm your daughter and she's such a beggar? Don't you love me because of her? Jiang Jiaozhen stubborn to say the last sentence, tears slowly fall down, against the wall crying pear flowers with rain, like a rain watered the small white flower. I looked at her superb acting, heart call good guy, if not the occasion is not right, really want to give her applause, but also, past lives can become top floor person, acting how can be bad? Ju Sui looked at her daughter crying so sad, all of a sudden anger dissipated, soft heart up. Jiaozhen, didn't your mother tell you that you and Shuyao are both your mother's daughters from now on, regardless of each other? You destroyed the room like this, so where will Shuyao live at night? Jiang Jiaozhen looked at Ju Sui tearfully, voice choked with sobs. I should not be jealous because my parents love my sister, so destroy the room. The house is not a debris room, I go there to live, let my sister live in my room. Ju Sui looked at her daughter this compromise appearance, cannot help but feel guilty. How can that line, you are my ginger family's baby, how can I sleep in the utility room? Jiang Jiaozhen hiding in Ju Sui arms, in her invisible angle to my smirk, as if to tell me again, even if you are your own, it is impossible to replace her in the parent's heart position. These words are past life she said to me, but also at that time I really understand. She showed me kindness, but is false, just to get parents' guilt and love. I looked at their mother-daughter love, my heart is still a little uncomfortable. The last life before I died to know, I was my parents' own daughter. The reason to use the identity of adopted daughter to pick me back is afraid that they have raised many years of false daughter sad. And the fake daughter of the other Berlin girl, even though she knew I was the real thing, still embarrassed me at every turn, courting me in front of my parents, verbally abusing me behind my back, calling me an adopted daughter at school, and being domineering at home, goaded my classmates into bullying me. I was humiliated to death in a previous life, and God took pity on me to return to the day I was adopted by my parents. Mom! I can sleep in the grocery store. I used to sleep outside in the summer at the orphanage. I used to sleep in the doghouse with Kuro in the winter when it was cold. And now I'm just happy to have a little room. I raised a bright and cheerful smile looking at Ju Sui, eyes revealed full of sincerity, as if sleeping debris room is a very good thing. Compared to miserable, who would not, when I was in the orphanage what did not eat, body full of scars. I do not know the past use of these, so that parents feel soft and guilty to do chips. But live long. These are the swords I use to attack. My words, the success of Juice Wei Red Eyes, in the end is his own daughter. Although not in the side for many years, blood is thicker than water, how can not love? Juice Wei let go of Jiang Jirzhen and hugged me tightly. She burst into tears. Shuyao, Mother didn't expect you to live such a life in an orphanage. If Mother had picked you up earlier, you wouldn't have suffered so much. If you don't mind, will you sleep with your mother tonight? No. You're my mother, you can't sleep with her. Jiang Jiaozhen's shrill voice startled Juice Wei. I also pretended to be shy and pathetic, hiding behind Juice Wei. Juice Wei motherly love, put me behind. Do NT agree with looking at Jiang Jiaozhen? Jiaozhen, be a good girl. If you hadn't ruined your sister's room, would she have shared a bed with her mother? Before Jiang Jiaozhen opened her mouth, I carefully pulled the sleeve of Juice Wei and looked at her with eager eyes. It is my dream to sleep and live with my mother. I will not feel wronged. I will feel very happy. Juice Wei again by my words stung the heart, took my hand, over Jiang Jiaozhen went to the master bedroom. Jiang Jiaozhen is still a young and inexperienced girl after all. She is not as tolerant as she was when she was in her 20s. When she saw her mother ignoring her and liking her other daughter, of course she would be jealous. Under the impulse of jealousy, she came after me and pushed me hard. I actually heard the footsteps, but I deliberately did not hide, but in the moment she pushed me, deliberately jumped out, fell to the ground, his forehead also because hit the marble floor bleeding. Oh, my God! Juice Wei hurried up to help me. See my forehead bleeding moment, flustered not. Don't be afraid, mother. Yao Yao doesn't hurt. My sister mustn't have done it on purpose. Don't blame her. I shouldn't have wanted to sleep with you. I covered my forehead, stubborn tears to fall off, but more than Jiang Jiaozhen directly crying out to be more people love. You are faking. I didn't push you hard at all. Jiang Jiaozhen screamed and ran to me and slapped me again, staring at me viciously. Young eyes so fierce, you can imagine that she is a born bad kind, but her previous life carefree, not exposed just. Jiang Jiaozhen. This time, before I could speak, Juice Wei was intolerance. You pushed your sister away and beat her. As your mother used to teach you, go to your room and think about it. Don't know what's wrong. Don't eat. Jiang Jiaozhen also want to say anything, but Juice Wei didn't speak to her, directly let the nanny took her back to the room. I looked at Jiang Jiaozhen aggrieved and angry appearance, the in the mind simply cool turn over. Is this the beginning of injustice? You'll only be worse off than you are now. Juice Wei took me to the bathroom. She was afraid I wouldn't be able to do it well on my own, so she kept an eye on me from time to time. And I deliberately backed to her, take off a small circle of clothes, revealing the back crisscrossing scars. Juice Wei saw the scar the first time rushed in, and I deliberately hiding, don't want her to find the appearance, let Juice Wei guilt and love. Mom, why are you crying? Is there something wrong with Yao Yao? I can change it. I will be good. Don't cry. I stretched out my thin hand to wipe the tears on her face. Juice Wei cried more severely. She did not expect me to be so sensible, clearly his scarred, but also take into account her feelings as a mother. Juice Wei very regret in the heart, should have directly indicated my identity, and then put people back. Tell Mom, how did you hurt your back? Were you bullied a lot in the orphanage? Juice Wei looked at me that piece and she has 8 similar face. Love is like being hammer hard knock. The dean may have a bad temper, but she's been good enough to take in US orphans. It was our insensitivity that made her angry, and Yao Yao doesn't blame her. I pretended to be easy to say, but in the eyes of Ju Sui, I am so good children certainly won't make trouble. Is the dean bad-tempered? Just take these children vent. She can't beat anyone up anyway, and tomorrow Mom will tell Dad not to give money to the orphanage. People like that don't care if their children live or die as long as they're making a profit. Ju Sui said, personally help me take a bath. Afraid I am too sad deliberately said something interesting to relax me. After taking a bath, dressing the wound, I and Ju Sui lying in bed, she gently patted my back, soothed me to sleep. I can't help but red eyes. Past life I desire motherly love, never had, relive a life, just a little trick will have something I cannot get. If they had been braver and smarter in a previous life, wouldn't their parents have been fooled by the fake daughter? And wouldn't they have been hit by the fake daughter's family company that went bankrupt and owed huge debts, caused both parents to jump to their deaths? I lay in my mother's arms, silent tears. Past parents know the true face of false daughter, regret it is too late. This life she is very afraid, even if the parents know the true face of false daughter, or will stand on the side of false daughter without hesitation. Mom, will you let me down? The next morning, I was gently awakened by my mother. After breakfast, Mother took out a brand new lambskin bag. There is a new fruit mobile phone, handed to me. Yao Yao, your father won't be back from a business trip for 2 days, and your mother has already checked you in. You're going to school with your sister today, and I hope you'll forgive her for last night. Jiang Jiaozhen was laughing to eat. Hear this face suddenly pull long. But look at her appearance. This morning should be and Ju Sui service too soft. I raised a sweet smile, looked at Ju Sui. Mom, I do not blame sister. Let me sleep with my mother for a night. This is more than a princess room to make me happy. Ju Sui eyes red. Love touched my face. That and your father came back, and mother sleep together. The room mother will let people decorate. Thanks, Mom. Let's go to school together. SIS. I am friendly to take the initiative to pull Jiang Jiaozhen hand. Jiang Jiaozhen can still angry I can sleep with my mother, forced to shake off my hand, ran out quickly. The boy. Ju Sui disapproved of looking at Jiang Jiaozhen. I took the initiative to smile at her, said nothing, carrying a bag toward the door to run. And my action let Ju Sui feel more sensible, to Jiang Jiaozhen behavior more and more dissatisfaction. Private College of Atlanta. I got out of the car, because Bugatti's model is too handsome, attracted a lot of envy, but because my face some strange, everyone is guessing my identity. Looking at the familiar and strange place, my heart is very excited. The past this place is the beginning of all my nightmares, and this life, here will be the beginning of Jiang Jiaozhen's nightmares. Atlanta is a top-tier exclusive college with a spacious location and a large campus, with separate colleges from kindergarten to university, where students are either wealthy or wealthy. But the strength of the Jiang family here is ranked in the top 2. Ranked in the first is Jiu. Jiang Jiaozhen's fiancé is Gu's eldest grandson, Jiu Yankai. In previous lives, Jiu Yankai know Jiang Jiaozhen ugly face, also had secretly helped me, but because of marriage, he had the intention to help me, but cannot do too obvious. Finally also because of Jiang Jiaozhen provoked me gradually alienated. Later, Jiang Jiaozhen also because Jiu Yankai helped me, in public and he cancelled the engagement. Jiu Yankai didn't like her. Homeopathy promised to quit the marriage, so Jiu and Jiang family break, leading to Jiang family was annexed without help. The housekeeper sent Jiang Jiaozhen into the school. See, I stood at the door, did not go in. Thought I had never seen such a good place, so was scared silly, deliberately sarcastic. Haven't you ever seen such a good school? You must remember that you represent the Ginger family. If you don't change your appearance, you'll lose the face of the Ginger family. If you have time to worry about me, you might as well worry about your daughter. I glanced at the housekeeper, ignored his ugly face, and carried my bag into school. I inherited the perfect appearance of the advantages of parents. Skin blow can be broken, like a porcelain doll in general. I followed the cloud behind the teacher into the classroom. Instant harvest, a lot of envy, appreciation, and envy of the eyes. Who is she? So cute. I think she looks familiar, but I can't remember who. Do you remember her? The chattering students stopped to talk and shook their heads. Students, today our class welcomed a new student. I hope you can take good care of the new student. So, to do some self-introduction. Cloud teacher, speak gentle, more gentle temper, past life to see me bleed, teach Jiang Jiarzhen. But later Jiang Jiarzhen lying, said the cloud teacher. Corporal punishment him, was fired her father using the relationship. Cloud teacher had a bright future, was killed, was notorious, no school dare to use her. Later heard that cloud teacher went to the countryside to do volunteer education. Hello, everyone. My name is Jiang Shuyao. I hope you will pay more attention and be my friend in the future. I greet generously, looking at those familiar faces in front of my heart, more and more excited. Those who believed me have not forgotten. In a previous life, I held back for a long time, only saying my own name. Jiang Jiarzhen took the lead in making jokes for a long time. Some stubborn rich kids led by Suzhou deliberately bullied me in order to curry favor with Jiang Jiarzhen. Those who like bullying will be punished. Cloud teacher is very satisfied with my self-introduction, looked at the classroom, pointed to the second row of empty seats. Shu Yao, you can sit in the second row. If you have any problems, you can consult your classmates or come to the teacher. I smiled and nodded, went to the empty seat, and the boy Jiu Yankai at the same table said hello. Young eyes do not look forward, the sun sprinkled in, looking after his handsome face, slender eyelashes, set off his eyebrows and eyes more gentle. Recall the past life he helped me all sorts of, blurt out a thank you. The boy heard the voice slightly lung, gentle eyes stay on me, but see I have no other reaction, cannot help but wonder if he heard wrong. After a class, Jiu Inkstone Pool left, I was packing up textbooks, Jiang Jiarzhen couldn't stand, with Suzhou walked over. Suzhou blustery, a kick over my desk, even Jiu Inkstone Pool desk was also taken over. I looked at a mess, the scene also appeared in previous lives. Jiang Jiarzhen do nt want me and Jiu Yankai do deskmate. Deliberately in classmates said I was arrogant at home. Deliberately let Suzhou thought I bullied her. Suzhou has filled with heroism, want a revenge for Jiang Jiarzhen. After class came to threaten me. In a previous life I didn't want to meddle, so I took the initiative to go to the last row, but now I just want to meddle. The Su family's upbringing is really worrying. I looked at Suzhou cold, calm, no fear. Obviously my reaction is not Suzhou thought. Suzhou arrogant not, took my handbag thrown out. Poor new cell phone. I broke it before I even used it. I heard you were arrogant and dared to bully Jiarzhen at home. How dare an adopted beggar bully someone? I tell you, you'd better behave yourself and sit quietly in the back row. Don't stand in Jiarzhen's way. Suzhou said, to force me to the back row. And Jiang Jiarzhen just stood there wiping tears. Others have all ready for her hands. This means is really not ordinary high. In the face of the threat, I changed the previous life cowardly. Throw away the hand of Suzhou looked at him. Su, did you see me bully my sister? I slept with my mother last night. We have a monitor so we can see what's happening at home. If my sister is bullied by me, you must tell my mother. Suzhou people silly, obviously didn't he think I would say so, but see my attitude is firm, no thief guilty performance, suspicious look to Jiang Jiarzhen. Jiarzhen, she didn't bully you in the end. If you don't dare to say it, I'll go to your house at night and talk to Mother Jiang about it. As long as the surveillance is called out, she won't escape. Yes, see the monitoring, I cannot escape. I stood in situ, meaningfully looking at Jiang Jiarzhen. As long as Suzhou saw last night's surveillance, they will see me was Jiang Jiarzhen pushed down the screen. Who will lead, who will be the truth? Jiang Jiarzhen naturally not silly. What she did then who all know. Looking at my smug smile, Jiang Jiarzhen suddenly pushed away Suzhou, angry shouting, don't you mind your own business, away from me. Jiang Jiarzhen exasperated ran out. Suzhou inexplicably scolded meddling. Also some angry, couldn't help but complain. I came here because she said she was being bullied and no one was helping her, and she wanted me to help her get revenge. How can I be blamed for meddling? Suzhou choked up a belly gas. Suddenly see my forehead hurt, a little more guilt in my heart. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about, the injury to your forehead. I cover my forehead in feigned confusion, explained. It doesn't matter, sister is not careful to push me, I shouldn't sleep with her mother, make her angry, but I don't have parents, can let now parents take me, can let me call a mother, I am very satisfied with myself. I appropriate show weakness, tears drop just right. Suzhou and those who were originally provoked by Jiang Jiarzhen classmates suddenly feel sympathy for me, have begun to blame Jiang Jiarzhen. But in their eyes, Jiang Jiarzhen in the end is the proper daughter of the Jinja family. No one will really stand up for me. Except Jiu Inkstone Pond. Who did this? Jiu Yankai do nt know when to come back. See his desk fell, gentle handsome face a bit more when nu. But this is enough. Suzhou no family power, repeatedly apologized to put things away, back to his seat. I picked up my broken cell phone, sighed silently, and Jiu took one look at me, separating our books from each other and putting mine in the classroom. Thank you. I smile like a flower, looked at the young. Why did you say thank you to me? I meant at the beginning of the class. Jiu Yankai bowed his head to change the subject. Do not want to be found blushing. Thank you for letting me sit next to you. And thank you for helping me in my previous life. Thank you very much. My heart said silently. Suddenly a cup of hot water poured over the face. Jiu Yankai eye disease hand fast, with textbooks to block some, but still some sprinkled on my clothes. Jiang Jiarzhen, what are you doing? Jiu Inkstone Pool see you up good-looking brow, discontented looking at jealousy to face distortion Jiang Jiarzhen. Brother Yankai, she is the beggar brought back by the Jiang family. Why are you being so good to her? I've always wanted to be your table mate. How can you not agree? She can come as soon as she comes. Do you know that we are the ones who are engaged to be married? Jiang Jiarzhen's hysterical scream scared her classmates into covering their ears and looking at her like a crazy person. I get up properly, took her arm to comfort. Sister, you don't blame Jiu classmate, is the teacher arranged me to sit here, if you don't like, I can ask the teacher to help me adjust the seat. Jiang Jiarzhen threw off my hand, pushed my shoulder, angry, a little in this poor outfit. Yankai brother is mine, you have taken my mother, but also want to take away my fiancé, how can you be so cheap? Jiang Jiarzhen was angry ruthless, with a school bag hit me, I didn't avoid, in the heart of silent prayer, the best body left a serious scar, so go home to let my mother see. As long as the mother asked, natural will to Jiu Yankai pry the truth, will certainly know the true face of Jiang Jiarzhen, when the mother choose to shield or righteousness, I do nt know. My subconscious to protect the head at the same time, into the warm embrace, fresh and cold smell filled with my nasal cavity. I looked up slightly, on the Jiu Yankai gentle eyes, heart ruthless jump for a while. The next moment, blood along the Jiu Yankai face slide, drop in my face. Jiang Jiarzhen. You're crazy. Su Zha's incredible voice came, the students in the classroom exclamation voice after another. I looked up. Jiang Jiarzhen looked blank and threw away the glass in her hand. Jiu Yankai, why did you save me? I don't understand. Past lives Jiu Yankai, although also helped me, cannot do to protect the degree of body. I'm glad you're okay. Jiu Yankai held my hand tightly. Sure I was okay, fainted in my arms. Cloud teachers will bring ambulance Jiu Yankai away. Jiu Yankai injured. Directly alarmed the principal. Jiang Jiaozhen, Suzhou, and I were called to the office together. I took advantage of the students' inattention to hide the glass in my arms and went into the office first. Jiang Jiaozhen and Suzhou were whispering in the office. I don't know what to say. Under the teacher's urging, Jiang Jiaozhen and Suzhou only slowly into the office. Suzhou came in, with a bit of guilt looked at me, then lowered his head. The pot-bellied principal sat at his desk, tapping his pen hard and venting his anger. Jiang Xiao, it's only your first day here, and you've already caused such a big disaster. I've already informed your parents. Get ready to quit school. The principal couldn't help but say, directly to me sentenced to death. Also, Gujiar and Ginger are he cannot afford to offend, only I this Ginger adopted daughter, he can wantonly suppress bullying. I looked up at the principal, the tone was cold. A headmaster, I didn't do it, why should I be fired? If Jiu Yankai didn't protect me, I'd be dead now. Headmaster, is this to protect a murderer? The headmaster looked guilty in my eyes and patted the table hard to give himself courage. This is nonsense. You were the one who made the attempt. Jiang Jiaozhen just made a mistake. If it weren't for you, Jiu Yankai wouldn't have been hurt. Jiang Jiaozhen's principal is toward her, smirking. To the side of the Suzhou made a look. Suzhou hesitated. Jiang Jiaozhen, in the eyes of the threat, said, yes, I can also testify. It is Jiang Xiao believed Jiang Jiaozhen first. Jiaozhen gasped but only back. The principal looked at me and snorted. You want to deny it when there are witnesses? We don't need bad students like you at Atlanta. As soon as the words fell, the door was pushed open. The butler took the lead to walk in, followed by 2 police. When the headmaster saw the butler, he immediately rose to meet him. The butler took a step back to keep his distance. Headmaster, just now my master woke up and called me with the in and out. I've brought the police. I don't want you to interfere in this matter. The headmaster was surprised to get up. He concluded that Jiu Yankai will not offend Jiang Jiaozhen because of this little thing, will push all things to me, immediately pointed at me and shouted. This is the person she hurt. The witness is here. You can take her away. Jiang Jiaozhen is also excited looking at me. As long as I am convicted of attempted murder, the next life will be spent in prison, that henceforth she is the only daughter of the Ginger. With everyone watching, the policeman came up to me and asked, Are you Jiang Jiaozhen? Now Jiu Yankai is suing you for attempted murder. Please come with us. I shook my head, pointing to Jiang Jiaozhen. She is she hurt Jiu Yankai? Principal want to cover up the murderer. Suzhou perjury. False accusation is I hurt. This is physical evidence. There are Jiang Jiaozhen's fingerprints. This is a recording pen. Just now they perjury. Deliberately cover up the words are recorded. These words and the contents of the recorder were enough to make them go in for a while. You're talking nonsense. That's your cup. Jiang Jiaozhen completely forgot to destroy the tools of the crime. See, I gave the glass to the police, like crazy towards me rushed over. However, has not waited for her to walk 2 steps, already was controlled by another police. The police cannot take into account the identity of Jiang Jiaozhen, will take away 3 people directly. Ju Suishan came late. See, Jiang Jiaozhen was taken away by police car, ran to the classroom, pulled me anxious to ask. What happened? Just now the headmaster said you hurt someone at school. How did you take Jiaozhen away? I smiled. The first thing my birth mother did when she saw me wasn't care if I was hurt. She was worried about the murderer. I pointed to my head and looked at Ju Sui coldly. Mom, Jiu Yankai was hurt by his sister, but he was protecting me. If I were the injured person, you would have prepared an urn for me by now. Mom, if you don't like me, you don't have to adopt me. I'd rather stay in an orphanage for the rest of my life. At least I won't risk my life. My words let Ju Sui's heart tremble. Also remembered when I was young, she tried to take care of Messine. She subconsciously hold me. Yao Yao, your mom's biological daughter. How could I leave you in an orphanage forever? I'm sorry. Mom didn't protect you. Ju Sui, tears streaming down her face, did not realize that he blurted out the words, so that the classroom teachers and students watching the bustle at the door a big surprise. Are you saying, Mother, that I am your own daughter? Although I had known the truth for a long time, I still pretended to be surprised. Ju Sui, aware of their slip of the tongue, but think of their own daughter, almost died in their foster daughter for many years, she did not want to hide. Yes, you were my mother's biological daughter. She said you were adopted by us, but she was afraid your sister would be too sad to tell you later. Will you blame Mom and Dad? Ju Sui, carefully looking at her daughter, eyes full of guilt. At the moment she also very regret, should not wrong their own daughter. Mom, I don't blame you. If you prefer your sister, I can keep on wondering. I said, sad, careful to withdraw from the embrace of Ju Sui. Tears flowed just right, let Ju Sui more distressed. No, you have parents, you have a home, you'll never be homeless again. Ju Sui seemed to make up her mind to reassure me, and left the school in a hurry to make sure I wasn't hurt. After school, I went straight to school. In the VIP ward of the hospital, Jiu Yankai, her head wrapped in gauze, was being forced to feed soup by her mother. When she saw me coming, her eyes flashed with surprise. Isn't this Jiang Shuyao? Yes, I'm sorry. I was hurt protecting my classmate today. I just came to see him after school. I don't want to bother you. I cleverly said hello, explained the reason. In the heart but surprised Jiu mother one I recognized me. Past life I and the Jiu lady did NTC. Jiu mother pulled me to sit down. Eyes full of surprise looked at me. You look just like Sui Sui when she was a little girl. No wonder she adopted you. But don't be nervous. He's a tough kid. He'll be fine in a few days. I smiled and nodded, but in the heart a stringent pain. Jiu Yankai light cough, looked to Jiu mother said, Mom, let us talk for a while, you go to busy. Jiu smiled and nodded. Well, I'll go back today. I'll see you tomorrow. Yao Yao, please take a look at the liquid. Yes, Mum. I watched Gu's mother leave, took one look at the half bottle of liquid medicine, sat on the chair beside the bed, and looked curiously at Jiu Yankai. Why save me? You're not the meddling type. Help others. Jiu Yankai gentle tone, took over. I just peeled a good banana bite, smile more gentle. I stared at Jiu Yankai, couldn't help wondering if he was also born again, but his last life had gone well, he couldn't have died. If he was really born again, he should have stayed away from me. How could he have risked his life to save me? I didn't see anything different, and Sam laughed and said, You almost lost your life doing this fun thing. Isn't it very grateful to me? They say the grace of life to promise. Do you want to marry me? Jiu Yankai jokingly said, throwing his banana peel into the waste paper basket. I repeatedly waved, Don't. We just sit at the same table. Let your fiancé almost killed. If really married to you, she had my ashes yarn. Jiu Yankai face gradually cooled down, looked to the distance. Jiang's two families are engaged to be married. but there is no designated one. You are also the daughter of the Jiang family. Naturally, I can marry you, too. If I were to marry Jiang Jiarzhen, I would rather destroy Gu's family. Jiu Yankai attitude changed too fast. Let me cannot help but take a deep breath. He, in order not to marry Jiang Jiarzhen, would rather destroy Jiu family. Can I, this time Jiu Inkstone Pool, and did not recognize the true face of Jiang Jiarzhen, and even listened to her bewitchment, to me gradually alienated. Jiu Yankai see my face dignified, eyes down to explain. I'm joking, don't be so serious, you are my desk mate. I don't protect you, protect who? Today for anyone I will do so, don't have a burden. Thank you, anyway. I thanked Jiu Yankai sincerely and made small talk until the nurse pulled out the needle. Jiu Yankai take my hand. Wait, if you come, can you cook some dishes for me? The food in the hospital is terrible. I'll take it as a thank you gift. Good. I'll come tomorrow at noon. Red-faced, I pulled back my hand and hurried away, clutching my pounding heart. I had a fight to fight that night, because my long-lost father was coming home, a doting wife monster and a doting daughter monster. Under Jiang Jiarzhen's provocation day and night, he only took Jiang Jiarzhen as his daughter, took care of me only in name, and never gave me more than a share of his father's love. If he knew that I had sent his baby daughter to the police station, you're going to hate me. But I don't care. This life I just want to let Jiang Jiarzhen suffer and live, even if no parents love. I have just entered the house, sitting on the sofa. Jiang Jinsho pointed at me in the face, scolded. Bastard! You must have done something, or Jiarzhen couldn't have hurt anyone. I wish I hadn't taken you home in the first place. Ju Sui, who heard the roar, came out of the kitchen and looked at the people on the sofa dissatisfiedly. Honey, what happened today is not Yao Yao's fault. I've made up my mind. In a few days, I'll reveal Yao Yao's identity. No one is allowed to bully my own daughter. Upon hearing the words of his own daughter, Jiang Jinsho seemed to remember that I was his own daughter, and her face softened a little. Shuyao, my father doesn't blame you, just don't believe I looked at my daughter grow up, will do such a vicious thing. Now Jiarzhen is still in the police station, you say I this farther, how can not worry? I looked at him cold and distant, already used to his father's attitude, and did not feel sad because of his words. But Dad, if you hadn't lost me, I'd be the one you and Mom would be looking after now. Jiang Jinsho looked at me in astonishment, as if surprised why I knew the truth that he had lost me. I didn't explain, calmly came forward and handed him the phone with the broken screen. Jiang Jin fix unknown so took the phone, watching the above surveillance video. 3 seconds later, face difficult to see the pole. Before I left the school, I went to the school police station and asked for the surveillance video of Jiang Jiarzhen's beating today. I knew that no matter how I explained it, it would be impossible to believe my story to someone who has a bias, so seeing is believing. What kind of person do you think you are, raising a daughter for so many years? Upon hearing what I said, Jiang Jinsho looked up and opened his mouth but said nothing. When he saw the video and remembered what he had just said, he could only feel that his face had been severely slapped. If you think I faked the video, you can ask your classmates at school. A lot of people saw it. I spoke again. Jiang Jinsho shook his head slightly, returned the phone to me, sitting on the sofa for a long time cannot recall. Yao Yao, your father needs some time to accept this. Give him some time. If we didn't care about you, we wouldn't have brought you back. I laughed at myself, looking at Jiang Jinsho and Ju Sui. Mom and Dad, if you really care about me, you won't let me come back as an adopted daughter. I just don't understand why parents would let their own daughter suffer for a child they don't have, when I didn't do anything wrong and you lost me. My voice choked and I looked down at my frostbite-covered hands. I don't care about suffering, but if you're taking me home, why are you taking me to an outsider? If she could get along with me, I could treat her like my own sister, but she tried to kill me, and you poke her face. I said, touched his face, looked at the silent tears of her mother. If Aunt Jiu hadn't said I was just like my mother when she was a child, I wouldn't have believed it. Hold 2 generations of grievances, today all said, I forced tears turned away, at the moment, can only bet on their guilt for me, if they still favor Jiang Jiarzhen, then I will have no parents. Yao Yao. Ju Sui stood up and stopped me. Jiang Jinshu also stood up and held me tightly into his arms. Of course Daddy cares about you. Yao Yao. When you were a little pink ball, I lost you when you were 4 years old. Over the years, we never gave up looking for you. We just let the guilt and longing for you seep into Jiarzhen. It's Dad's fault. He didn't handle his emotions well enough to make you feel wronged. Henceforth, he won't. I'll just be your dad. Jiang Jin fixed serious commitment, secretly vowed to make good compensation for the mistreatment of me. Thanks, Mom and Dad. I hold my father, wanton tears, no longer need to worry about being blamed. A pop. The door was pushed open. Jiang Jiarzhen screaming rushed in, Ming Yang's small face envy to twist. You can't. You're my parents, and I won't allow you to recognize her. Jiang Jingxiu, looking like crazy woman's daughter, frowned. Enough, you have because Han's hurt into the police station. Do you know this matter? How much influence on the ginger? Ju Sui will also protect me behind, discontentedly looking at Jiang Jiarzhen. Are you usually willful? Parents don't care. But this time you really made trouble. Still don't know how to repent. You let us down. I doubt looking at Jiang Jiarzhen has turned his face. I also don't intend to in her false compromise. Jiang Jiarzhen, how did you get out without bail? You escaped from prison? My words. Successful let Jiang Jin fix and Ju Sui face changed. Jiarzhen, how do you come out? Jiang Jin fixed to pull Jiang Jia's arm, nervous asked. Dad, you don't care how I got out. You promised me to kick this little bitch out. Or I'll die for you. Jiang Jiarzhen didn't know where to get a box cutter. The bright blade lay across her neck. I held Ju Sui, whose legs were weak, thinking carefully about who had bailed Jiang Jiarzhen out. Suddenly, a name came to mind. Xu Rong. Xu Rong is the orphanage courtyard, but also Jiang Jiarzhen's biological mother. Except for her, no one will help Jiang Jiarzhen out. Quick, how did you come out? Even if you die, I will give you back to the police. Jiang Jinshu really angry. If the Ginger family has a murder attempt, also escaped daughter, this matter once spread, the Ginger family shares will be affected. Dad! I'm going to die. You still tangled up in this? Why? You hurry up to drive her out. Jiang Jiarzhen crazy roared. Jiang Jinshu, while she didn't pay attention, came forward to grab the knife, but didn't expect Jiang Jiarzhen action faster, escaped Jiang Jinshu action, backhand toward Jiang Jinshu stabbed down. Jiang Jin fix unbelievable looking at Jiang Jiazhen, completely didn't expect her daughter will want to kill his mind, momentary Lengen Sichu forget to dodge. Dad, watch out! I exclaimed, pushed Jiang Jingxiu, Jiang Jiazhen knife straight to me. But when Jiang Jiarzhen saw me, the panic in her eyes was replaced by resentment, and she had no intention of stopping. Box cutter cut my arm, blood gone with the river. Ju Sui screamed to cover my wound, shouting to the housekeeper for an ambulance. See the blood, Jiang Jiarzhen belatedly afraid, threw away the knife in his hand, turned and ran out. Go and stop her. Jiang Jinshu shouted to the nanny. The nanny immediately ran out. The wound was so deep and bleeding that I was so weak that I passed out before the ambulance arrived. It was 3 days before I opened my eyes again. I thought the first thing I saw when I woke up would be my mother, but I didn't think it would be the gaunt Jiu Yankai. You've finally woken up. If you don't, Aunt Chow will cry her eyes out. Jiu Yankai said, pointing to the Juice Wei lying on the sofa behind him, got up and pressed the pager. Soon doctors and nurses ran in, a parse on my examination. Mother was awakened by the sound, that I woke up also busy running over to guard. Dr. Chin took back his stethoscope and looked to Juice Wei and Jiu Yankai, who were worried. Shu Yao is fine, but the wound can't touch the water yet. Some notes after the operation. Zhui, you and I will go to the office, and I'll tell you in detail. Juice Wei followed Dr. Chin left, ward only Jiu Yankai. I Ling looked at him. What's the matter? I've just been stabbed. How come I'm dying? Listen to my words. Jiu Yankai stretched and pinched my face. But got a knife? Do you know that the knife almost killed you? There was rust on the box cutter, a tetanus shot, and some infection. You burned for 2 days and 2 nights. I was afraid you'd lose your mind. This is a few, no? Jiu Yankai stretched out 2 fingers. In my eyes, Wang Hoang. This is you, I replied with a smile, looking down at my wound. I couldn't feel my arms, and I broke out in a cold sweat. Am I going to lose my arm? Jiu Yankai, seeing that I was afraid, gently comforted me. Don't be afraid, he said. I just gave you an anesthetic. I nodded cautiously and asked again, by the way, where's Jiang Jirzhen? How did you handle your business? Mentioning Jiang Jirzhen, Jiu Yench's face became extremely ugly, and my affair is nothing. The principal was sentenced to 3 years, and Suzhou just came of age and was sentenced to 1 year. Uncle King said that the woman was trying to kill him, but you pushed her away. But she ran away and hasn't been caught yet. I wanted to write a letter of understanding for Uncle Jiang's sake and not hold Jiang Jirzhen responsible any longer. But when I know she hurt you, I'll just have the lawyer charge her with murder. But now the police and Jiu Jiang's 2 families are looking for her, but she just vanishes into thin air, never to be found. Jiu Yankai scratched his head, past gentle as the wind of youth, now become a little irritable. I thought about it carefully. Although I don't know when Jiang Jirzhen and Xu Rong recognized each other in a previous life, Xu Rong's longing and love for Jiang Jirzhen would definitely cover up for this daughter who had been recovered. She must be at Xu Rong's by now. Jiu Yankai, do me a favor. I slightly side body. In Jiu Inkstone Pool ear whispered a few words. Jiu Yankai immediately nodded, got up and went to the window, dialed a phone. A few words later, turned to me then the OK gesture. A month later. I went home from the hospital, this month. I and Jiu Yangqi close relationship a lot. On the day I left the hospital, Jiang Jirzhen was caught in a remote mountain area, in the mountains of Xu Rong's hometown. Jiang Jirzhen was finally sent back to the police station on charges of attempted murder and escape. She was sentenced to 20 years, and Xu Rong, who had sheltered her, was also put in prison, 5 years. I listened to prison every day at home, Jiang Jirzhen's tragic experience. The mood is getting better and better, arm injury is gradually getting better. On the 3rd day of September, my birthday, my parents held a banquet for me. Almost the head of the Beihai influential people are invited, publicly announced all my identity. The moment I was admitted, tears came to my eyes. I was the only princess in the family. I got back everything that I should have had, and I didn't let rebirth down for once. When I got home after my birthday party, I wanted to take a bath and went into the cloakroom only to find the housekeeper inside, furtively rummaging through the cupboards. I thought of the housekeeper's gambling daughter, who had come to fill her hole with my jewels for lack of money. "Housekeeper, what are you doing?" My voice startled the housekeeper, who hurriedly put the jewels back in their place. "Nothing," he said casually. "I heard from the nurse that you've bought some more jewels. I'll see if they're safe." I smiled as I walked up to the counter and pulled out a diamond ring. "You took my diamond earrings for 30 million grand 3 days ago. How many years do you think you'll get if I give the video to the police?" As soon as the housekeeper heard this, she knelt down in front of me and pleaded repeatedly, "Miss, please spare me once. I really have my reasons. It's all my bad daughter's fault. She owes too much money. I won't take it any more. Please do me a favor and forgive me. You're the eldest sister of the Jiang family. You don't lack for these things. If Miss Georgian were here, she'd help me." I sneered, went to the door of the cloakroom. "Since she is so good, then you go to her to help you pay your debts. I cannot do this, good man, lest I help you, but also by you as charity, let you have a grudge against me. I don't want to do any more thankless things. I'll ask the lawyer to find out how much jewelry you took from me. If you don't give me my money back, you'll go to jail." I went back to my room, ignoring the plea for mercy from the housekeeper behind me. That night, my father knew what had happened and immediately called the police. The police found a lot of jewelry in the housekeeper's house, but the jewelry that had been sold could not be recovered because of the huge amount of money involved. The butler will spend his life in prison. One day after March, parents in Jiang Jiaoxin continuous request went to the prison. Originally I thought, Jiang Jiaoxin will be in prison for life. Cannot think, she was only locked up for half a year put out. One day, I was writing my test paper with Jiu Yankai. There was a loud noise outside the room. I got up and left the room. Liu Mar's eyes for help, through the door, and I look. I move away. This life, I can no longer meddle. Jiu Yankai then walked out, and I looked to the door of the first floor hall. "Mom and Dad, don't drive me away. After all these years of affection, how can you abandon me?" Jiang Jiaoxin sat on the ground, holding Ju Sui's thigh beseeching, trying to use the cry to make her soft. Jiang Jin fix already in the daughter, on their own when the cold heart, did not pay attention to her cry, turned away. Ju Sui, who always had a soft heart, was not moved either. She pushed Jiang Jiaoxin aside and gave her a card, determined way. Jiaoxin, in order to you can get out of prison, your father and I have gone to the family once. This is your grandmother donated bone marrow compensation. Hurt your father, we don't want to pursue. Hearing this, I pinched the hand of the guardrail gradually tightened. Cannot help but worry that my mother will be soft-hearted, easy to let go of. Jiang Jiaoxin hurt me. And Jiang Jiaoxin also think, Ju Sui will be soft-hearted. Forgive yourself. Tears for smile want to hug Ju Sui, again was pushed out. Ju Sui looked at her coldly and threw her car to the ground. But you hurt Yao Yao twice. We can't let you get away with it. You know she's my own daughter, and you want to hurt her. I should really reflect on how I raised a murderer's daughter. I have 50,000 yuan in the card. It will be my last fund to raise you. From now on, you will have nothing to do with my family. Don't show up in front of us again. If you hurt anyone again, no one will protect you. Ju Sui said, and ignored Jiang Jiaoxin entreaty, signal housekeeper to drag people out. Jiang Jiaoxin's cry faded away, and I breathed a sigh of relief. Jiu Yankai rubbed my day, gently said, Everything is in the past, no one will hurt you. Have you also been reborn? I looked at him sideways and hesitated to ask what I had wondered for a long time. Jiu Yankai micro-ling, smile more gentle, rubbed my head. Don't you see, silly? I was wrong not to be his arms, strength, as if to rub me into the body in general. Why can you be born again? I'm puzzled. Jiu Yankai has Jiu family to protect. Why can you die? Jiu Yankai buried his head in my neck and shoulder, whispering, "In no summer. Do you still remember when you were 4 years old? You just arrived in kindergarten. A little fat man was bullied. You saved him, but also hurt a little boy." Wu Xie. Hearing this name, my memory was instantly pulled back to when I was 4 years old. At that time, I was sent to an orphanage. Because I didn't know the name, I was named Wu Xie by the director. But at that time, no one wanted to play with me. Few people know me by that name. "You're the fat one?" I gently asked, just want to lament for people our potential stocks. Jiu Yankai suddenly shook his head. "No, I was the one who was beaten by you. From the moment you knocked me down to protect the little boy, your image has been imprinted on my heart. Later, I was found by my family and sent to look for you for a long time, but nothing was found. In a previous life, I knew you were the one I was looking for, but you had already been sold to northern Myanmar by Jiang Jerjan. When I found you, you had already. Later I killed Jiang Jerjan and Xueran. It was very immature, but at least I avenged you, but I was also punished by the law. I didn't expect to be born again. I thought I had to protect you in this life. I didn't expect you to be so tough that you didn't need my protection at all." Here Jiu Yankai said these, I was silly, unbelievable looking at Jiu Yankai, heart moved to a mess. "Fool, I'm not worth it." Jiu Yankai wiped the tears from my face, gentle smile. Don't you forget, later I went to you, you said my fist is used to protect the weak, not used to bully, then I promise to you, I will always protect you. In fact, I am grateful to God for giving me a chance to be born again, because I can stand by your side. This time I will not miss you." I cried sobs, only hug Jiu Yankai. The original I was not unloved, once, now someone in a corner, silently loved me. 5 years later. University graduation. In the preparation of both Jiu Jiang, for me and Jiu Yankai held a grand wedding. On the day of the wedding, I was putting on makeup. The makeup artist was called out. As I was putting on lipstick, I saw Jiang Jerjan's face in the mirror. My face turned white, and I was about to call for someone. Jiang Jerjan suddenly took out a towel, put me in a coma. "Wake up again." I was bound hands and feet thrown in the back seat. Jiang Jerjan drove me to the place, more and more desolate. I struggled to sit up and looked at some big, rough men waving at Jiang Jerjan in the distance. "Jiang Jerjan, I didn't expect to see you again. Do you still want to sell me to the north of Myanmar? I'll give you one last piece of advice. I'll see you later." Jiang Jerjan listened to my words, will floor the accelerator, laughed and said, "Back to shore. Now I can go back?" "Jiang Xiao, you took everything from me. Even if I die, I'll bury you with you." I looked back and saw the helicopter following me in mid-air. My heart settled down a little. The car soon stopped. Jiang Jerjan out of the car, twisting the slender waist, walked to the leader side. The minion pulled me out of the car. But the next moment, the roar of the helicopter let them be startled. The leader of the people realized that something is wrong. Hard jilted Jiang Jerjan slap. "Don't fuck with me. You brought the police here." "I didn't." Jiang Jerjan, a face muddled, looked back to see me calm, suddenly realized that I was deliberately caught by her. The leader doesn't listen to Jiang Jerjan explanation, dragged her on the truck away. Jiu Yankai got off the plane, held me tightly in his arms and kept saying that it was okay. Looking at Jiang Jerjan was taken away. I know, her fate will only be more miserable than me. All this is I have long set the game, waiting for her to take the initiative to jump. The culprit is not punished, how my soul will be redeemed. At this moment, the The hatred buried in my heart gradually dissipated, and I held Jiu Yankai back with tears in my eyes and smiled with relief.